Hey, it's Vinny. So today we're going to be talking about Meta or Facebook stock, and I think that the story has changed here, and I was wrong about Facebook. So we're going to revisit it. I've made a couple videos on it. So what excited me about Facebook was that it was a fundamentally strong business. They were branching out into the metaverse, and I just really saw that as the bonus. But it's really not panned out, and it may not for another 10 years. And there are a lot of problems that I see right now plaguing Facebook, some old, some new. But the story has changed, and with that has my perspective. So I've been long Facebook for a few years now, but I'm deciding to trim my position and may even outright liquidate it. I'll explain why in a second. Facebook was my second largest position. So my 150 Facebook shares, I actually sold 50 today, and I sold a covered call on the rest. It expires this Friday with a 200 strike, and the contract paid me about $350 in premium. So if Facebook were to rise, I would let it execute, and if not, I may keep selling these types of calls weekly or monthly. We'll see. So let's get to the problems with Facebook. There's four main issues plaguing Facebook, and the combination of which is what now scares me and I feel greatly limits any upside potential. So number one, this one is nothing new. This is a company that's been plagued by scandals and has a terrible public perception. It's evident in their name change. They're running away from the past. You don't become Facebook, one of the largest, most well-known companies in the world, and change your name unless you have a bad connotation. So the name change is kind of a bad sign, I think. Companies that are in a great position don't change their name. Number two, we've got this huge threat from TikTok, and this applies to much more than just Facebook and social media, which we'll get to in a second. But I said in past videos that TikTok posed a threat and that there are wider implications here that have definitely become more apparent in the last couple months to me and have caused Facebook to miss expectations. So this goes beyond social media platforms, as TikTok potentially can even be pulling people away from Netflix. Part of the issue with Netflix losing subs could very well be people don't care or have the attention span for TV shows and movies anymore. They'd rather spend more time scrolling through the dopamine casino that is TikTok. So the best case I see for Facebook is TikTok steals some of the time that historically belonged to Facebook. So less time on Facebook or Instagram is less chance for Facebook to monetize its users, right? There's no way they don't lose in this scenario, at least some of their revenue. Facebook's user base is probably near, if not past its peak. Once you have 3 billion monthly active users on your platform, there's not a whole lot more room to grow the user base case more. You have to monetize those users more. And it seems like with TikTok, the opposite is happening, right? They're going to monetize Facebook's monetizing its users less because they're just not spending as much time on the platform as they used to because the trends are kind of changing here. So best case, TikTok only takes some of Facebook's lunch and not all of it. And this just translates to a guarantee of lower revenue as Facebook has less opportunity for ads and people spend less time on their platforms. Now, Facebook is taking steps to combat this. They're transitioning to Reels, or more short-form video that is becoming increasingly popular. While in the past, I gave Facebook credit for always being able to adapt, this time feels different. First of all, it takes time for Facebook to effectively monetize these new features, and this may take a few years to fully play out. In the past, when they've had to adapt, they were able to, they don't monetize it immediately or to the most full extent or most effectively. It takes years to play out. Second of all, I don't know how good the longevity of a business model seems to solely rely on just copying what others are doing, how long that can work for. This is even how Facebook, you can argue stayed relevant the past decade, buying Instagram, buying WhatsApp, and more. But this is no longer an issue. This is no longer an option for Facebook, as they really don't have a good relationship with people's trust or the government. So any more acquisitions, I think, are kind of out of the question, as they'll get blocked under anti-monopoly, practices. Facebook's business has been very reliant on copying or acquiring others to maintain its relevancy, and I don't see the acquisitions being an option anymore. Public perception of the company is so bad. Political perception of the company is bad. They really have no friends anywhere, and this is not a good sentiment for business. Now, the third issue I see here is that the metaverse is not panning out so far, and it's been nothing short of a bottomless pit of expenses. Now, the metaverse to me was the cherry on top of my investment thesis. With Facebook, I saw a fundamentally sound business with great margins, and the metaverse and the Oculus was just a bonus. Now, I have an Oculus Quest 2. I try to, use these products that I'm invested in, and I love it. It's incredible. It's a great product, and it's a lot of fun. I can't deny that, and I do see a lot of potential for it. But again, there are several problems. Number one is that Facebook's metaverse division, aka Reality Labs, is a bottomless pit of losing money right now. Everything they're doing, they're losing money on. They're plowing tens of billion dollars into it, each year right now, and they're just losing money, right? And while they said that, these losses should kind of gradually start to come down, it didn't make me feel any better that on the most recent earnings call, Zuckerberg basically said this is going to take years to play out. We may not even see the metaverse until the 2030s. So I'm expected to wait a decade for something that may or may not even work out. That in the meantime is a money-losing pit. I don't like those odds, especially not when the competition is surely to follow from the likes of Microsoft, Google, Apple, who may already be working on their metaverse aspirations and are much less public about it. And that's the other thing. It feels like Facebook really jumped the gun here. They tried to capitalize on something while there's so much hype around it. But I feel like the metaverse obsession or speculative talk has subsided and may not come back for a few years, if ever. Which brings us to number four. The fourth major issue I see is, Facebook's business model, which I guess I kind of touched on this already, but how long can they last just copying what others are doing? It may work out, but I just see a limited upside here, right? There's not explosive growth potential if you're not doing anything new and you're just copying what already exists. They're kind of just maintaining where they are. There's just, I see a ceiling on growth. Reels being the latest iteration, trying to copy TikTok. Acquisitions, like we said, are out of the question. The Instagram acquisition probably saved them in the 2010s, and we won't see that again because even back then, people were getting off Facebook and getting on Instagram, so they just bought Instagram. To top it all off, Facebook has a hiring freeze now as growth is slowing. This is not what you want to see and is in stark contrast to a company like Microsoft, who is doing the opposite. They're actually raising salaries right now. And I want to talk more about Microsoft, but I'll do that in the next video. So stay tuned. And if you enjoyed this, don't forget to subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of Facebook or Meta's strategy in the comments below. I could be wrong. We'll see how this one plays out, but I think that the story has changed. And when the story changes, you have to adjust accordingly. And I'm trying to play this one the best way I see fit. So let me know your thoughts. This is Vinny from the Investment Club, and I'll see you guys next time.